Hello, tortured Detroit Lions fans. I'm your host for this podcast, Barry Schumer, author of the book I Don't Believe It, We're Good, The New Detroit Lions, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. This is the fourth podcast in my series, and today I'm going to start up by talking about my optimism and good feelings about this season. We brought in a lot of new players, got rid of a few players, some new coaches. We've got a new offensive coordinator. We're going to see how that goes. And I'm going to make the bold prediction here that, and I'm going to back it up by making a bet. I'm going to make a $500 bet that our Lions win at least 11 games this year. I'm going to make that bet in the next week. And the over-under for their wins is 10.5 by Vegas. And I absolutely believe they'll win 11. I believe they're going to win 13, but minimum of 11. So check with me at the end of the season if I'm $500 richer or poorer. But you have to know my heart's still with the Honolulu Blue and Silver, and I believe Campbell's going to get us to the promised land. I have to tell you, I do enjoy a sports bet once in a while. And 5 years ago, Campbell's first year, when they went 3-13-1, I made a bet that year at one of our casinos in Detroit when I was living there. I live near Tampa, Florida now, just north of it in San Antonio, Florida. I went to Detroit Casino and I made a bet. The over-under that year was 4 wins, and I took the under. And they went 3-13-1. That tie helped me win $400 back 5 years ago. I gambled and I bet against our boys because Campbell's first year I was still pretty angry and sick of the team based on what had happened before Campbell got here, and just got lucky that they didn't win the 4 games. So I'm gonna take the Lions over 10.5, and I'm gonna bet $500. We'll see what happens. Another bet I've had, this is a pretty interesting one, with a gentleman who's pretty well known around Detroit in the sports industry, Mark Champion. I golf with Mark. He's a good friend of my buddy back in Detroit, and I was so confident about the Lions and where they were a couple years ago, before their 12-5 season that ended in San Francisco with the second half collapse, 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl. I made him a $100 bet that the Lions were going to win 2 of the next 5 Super Bowls. Now, if they would have gotten that one, I'd be in pretty good shape right now because I got 3 years left. I would have only needed 1. But since they blew that game and never got a chance to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I now have to win 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls to win that bet. That's probably not likely. I mean, if somebody made me a bet right now, will they win 1 of the next 3 Super Bowls? I'd make that bet. But 2 out of 3 is pretty tough to do. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that too. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, then I'm down to they have to win it back to back the following 2 years. So, as my son Jason says, he always said to me growing up, Dad, you never know. You never know. We'll see what happens. Last podcast, I introduced my new little friend to you, Jinxie the Lion. Remember this? And I got him from a friend who just had enough of the Lions and told me to come get all his Lion stuff. What I didn't tell you last time is that Jinxie is a little doll that you can rip their arms off, and you can rip his leg off with a Velcro. And if you're mad enough at the Lions, you can even tear their head off. So Jinxie, I hope it doesn't come down to me ever having to take your head off, but we're going to talk about some games, and Jinxie's going to be my guest on some of the podcasts. Now, you go back and sit in your corner, Jinxie, okay? We're going to see how you do with training camp coming up. So I want you to know that my prediction, staying on the positive note, for this year is that I think we're going to go 13-4. I took a look at the schedule, and we do have, I think, considered the easiest schedule in the NFL. Last year we had a really tough one. So I'm going to run down them really quick and tell you how I came to 13-4. Home against the Saints, I have as a win. Against the Bills, I have on the road, I have as a loss. Home against the Jets, a win. At the Panthers, a win. At the Cardinals, a win. Home against the Packers, a win. Home against the Vikings, a win. At Miami, a win. The Patriots in Germany, November 15th, I've got that as a loss. I've got a win home against Tampa, a win home against the Bears, a win at Atlanta, a win home against the Titans, a loss at the Vikings, a win at home against the Giants, a win at the Bears, and then the last game, January 10th, a loss at the Packers. And that comes out to 13-4. We'll see what happens. You never know. I mean, they certainly could lose to one of the teams they should not lose to, and could beat one of those really good teams that I have them down for a loss. I mean, they could win. I'd be shocked if they won anything less than 10. If the team is really solid, you could win 16 or 17 too. You never know. But I've got the 13 for sure. So today, to go on from here, I'm going to give you my next 3 tortured fan moments. In the book, I refer to that chapter as I don't believe it moments. And I've given you my first 9, and these are my next 3, counting backwards from 12, 11, and 10. And we're going to start with 12, and I'm going to go with the game against the Dallas Cowboys in 2015 in the playoffs with Matt Stafford. Another example of the Lions just getting totally screwed by the refs. We were driving down at the end of the game, maybe 7, 8 minutes to go. We were down a few points, I believe. And all of a sudden, there's a flag on a play. Stafford throws for our tight end. He's flagged for pass interference, the Dallas Cowboy cornerback. And we think, hey, we're getting ready to go into for a go-ahead touchdown. And all of a sudden, magically, the refs decided to just pick up the flag. And they announced there's no penalty. Now, we know Jerry Jones has a special place in the heart of Roger Goodell in the NFL and the head of refereeing. So we just felt that was a fixed thing. Like, there was no explanation for why the flag was picked up. You looked at the video replay, and the tight end was clearly interfered with. So, I mean, these are the problems that people start feeling like, is the NFL fixed or are referees bought off? It sure looks like that sometimes, but we'll see if anything comes of that. That was a pretty disappointing loss because I thought the Lions had a good chance to win that game, and it would have been their first playoff win since 1991. Which would have been 24 years. So that was an important thing to get off their back, and they could not do it because of a terrible call. But number 11, again, the Dallas Cowboys, and that was just a couple years ago. 2023, the year we lost to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. That game, you remember, the controversy was they said that Decker did not report as eligible at the end of the game when we had the trick play and got the touchdown. And it was taken away from us. It was just taken away from us. Campbell, I remember, was so pissed that he just kept going for it on 4th down. We had like 2 or 3 tries because Dallas had another penalty after that. And we never did get the touchdown. But again, that was a really killer. I remember being ecstatically excited that we won the game at the end on a great trick play. And then all of a sudden, you're depressed and angry and like, what the hell just happened? But as Lion fans, we've had to go through that many times. And as I said in the previous podcast, if we'd have won that game, as we did, if it wasn't stolen from us from the referees, the Lions would have had the best record in the NFC that year, and the NFC Championship game would have been in Detroit instead of San Francisco. And clearly that would have made the odds of winning that game a bit better. So that's my number 11. My number 10, Sterling Sharpe uncovered in a playoff game in 1993. We just beat the Packers the week before for the last game of the season, faced them again the next week, and we're watching this game, and Sterling Sharpe is wide open. There isn't a Lion defender within 20 yards of him. Total blown coverage. Game's over. Season's over. And that made my top 20 I don't believe it moments, that defensive debacle in 1993. So there we go. We've now counted down the top 12 of my personal tortured moments for fans of the Detroit Lions. And again, eventually I'm going to get to yours. I'm sure that I have forgotten many moments that have really tortured fans. And I hope you're going to remind me of those moments. But again, it's getting exciting, Lion fans. We're down to just about a month left. It's June 27th here in 2026 when I'm talking to you. I believe this camp probably starts around July 25th or so. We'll have three exhibition games, and then on with the opener, I believe, at home against the Saints, and I believe the date of that is September 13th. Interesting, I think they're now giving them 2 weeks between the end of the last preseason game and the start of the season. I think they used to do it maybe earlier than that, but that's the way it is. It's now extending, like I said. Our last game is now January 10th, so they've extended the season an extra week. I believe to give them that extra week off in between the preseason and the start of the regular season. And those are going to be two really cold games. When I saw the schedule come out, at Chicago, January 3rd, and at Green Bay, January 10th, I said, uh-oh. That is not good because the Lions historically have not done well in cold weather games. And unfortunately, Jared Goff is not a great cold weather quarterback either. He's a California boy. And we'll see. We're going to have to win one of those two. I would probably imagine to secure the NFC North. So that's a long ways away, but boy, there's nothing quite like September coming for Detroit Lion fans, especially since we've got Dan Campbell and our great GM running the show. So buckle up. I'll be coming to you soon, and thanks for joining me.